and welcome to Picture Book Hour here at Brookline Booksmith. Today we are so excited to have two wonderful writers who are here to share their new books. If you have questions while the authors are reading, hang on to those because they'll be answering as many as they can at the end of the reading. And if you enjoy their books and you don't already own them, we will be selling them at the back counter at the end, and Carrie and Josh will be signing them as well. Josh Funk is the author of My Pet Feet. He's also the author of the Lady Pancake and Sir French Toast books, Girls Who Code books, the It's Not a Fairy Tale books, the Patience and Fortitude at the New York Public Library books, and more. He's visited us many times, and we're so glad to have him back here for My Pet Feet. Carrie Finison has also been to the store before, so welcome back, Carrie. Carrie is the author of Lulu and Zoe, Dozens of Donuts, and Don't Hug Doug, He Doesn't Like It. Today, she is going to share a book she wrote that's quickly becoming a Brookline favorite. Hurry, little tortoise, time for school. Are you ready to read with Josh and Carrie? I am. So everyone, please give them a big round of applause.
Thank you, Alex. If there are any kids that want to come up closer, there's room on the floor here if you want to get a little closer, just in case. But
we'll hold them up too.
Yeah. So, I actually was. I think we were going to start by reading our books, and Carrie is going to go first. So. Go right ahead. Actually, I'm going to grab a copy of your book so that I can also hold it up.
Oh, good idea. That's a great idea. It's so exciting to get to share this story with you. This story, Hurry, Little Tortoise, Time for School. The main character is a little tortoise who's trying to get to school on time. So give me a thumbs up if you think a tortoise would be good at getting to school on time, or a thumbs down if you think maybe a tortoise might not be so good at that. Yeah, so tortoises are known for being slow, and this little tortoise, she's naturally pretty slow, but she thinks she's going to be fast. And because she thinks that, she's wearing a helmet because, when you do fast things like, ride a bike or something, you definitely need a helmet to protect yourself. So I wrote the words to the story, and the pictures were drawn by an illustrator named Erin Cron. And she had a really interesting wood block printing process that she uses, which maybe I can show you, or you can look at a little bit more up close later. And I love this book because I love what she did with the illustrations, because she actually started the story on the end papers of the book. So some books, you open them and the end papers are just a pattern, or maybe they're, maybe it's just a colored page, but this actually starts the story right here. And so you can see little tortoise, and she's getting ready for school. She has her helmet, and she has her lunchbox, and she has a stopwatch so she can time herself. And she even has a poster of her hero, who is Super Tortoise. And so she is getting ready for school, and she really wants to be fast today. I wrote this book because I was remembering when I was young and I would try to get to school on time. And raise your hand if you've ever been late to school. Has anyone ever been late to school? Yeah, sometimes you're late to school. And when I was late to school, I would always get a little nervous. First of all, that I was missing something, right? Something was happening without me, and I was really excited, and I wanted to be there, but it was starting without me, and that made me feel anxious. And I would also get a little anxious that the teacher might get a little mad at me for being late to school. So that was part of what gave me the idea for this book. And so we'll start the story. It says, guess what day it is? And you can see Little Tortoise's calendar right here. It says, first day of school, must be on time. And there's also a couple of other important holidays on this calendar. There's Grandpa's 137th birthday. So does anyone here have a grandpa who's 137? Stella does, apparently. You can confirm that later, Dad. And then there's also National Lettuce Day. Does anybody celebrate National Lettuce Day? If you love lettuce, like tortoises do, you might celebrate that day. But today is the first day of school, and that's circled. So it says, guess what day it is? Racing stripes? Check. Helmet? Check. Stopwatch? Check. Super tortoise lunchbox? Check. Little tortoise takes off faster than you can say lickety-split. Lickety-split again. Lickety-split louder. Lickety-split. There she goes. I cannot be late today, says little tortoise. And then it says, hurry little tortoise, time for school. It's a good thing little tortoise fueled up with extra lettuce this morning because today she is going to be fast. Faster than fast. Faster than super tortoise. So when little tortoise walks, it makes a sound. It goes like plonk, ka-plunk, plonk, ka-plunk. Can you all do that with me? Plonk,
Ka-plunk,
plonk,
ka-plunk.
ka-plunk. So when she does that in the story, I'll hold up my hand like this and you can all say plonk, ka-plunk, plonk,
Ka-plunk.
okay? So here she is, plonk-a-plunking. Her feet are a blur. Maybe she'll be the first one to school for the first time ever.
That was awesome, Carrie. Now, does anybody have a pet tortoise by any chance? Does anybody have any pets? Yeah? Does anyone have a pet cheetah? Or a pet llama?
I have a pet cat that thinks he's a cheetah.
A pet cat that thinks he's a cheetah.
Sometimes.
Does anybody have a pet feet by any chance? No. So this book is called My Pet Feet, and it was written by me and illustrated by Billy Young. Does anybody have feet? Does anybody have feet? Does anybody have pet feet though? No? You have pet feet? Well, do you know what a pet feet is? Does anybody know what pet feet is? No, probably not. So I'm gonna read this now, and let's see what's the best way. I'm gonna do this. So this is My Pet Feet. Here's a little girl. She's waking up in the morning. Today, I woke up and was about to feed my pet when... Does anybody wake up and feed their pets in the morning? Yeah?
I don't have a pet.
You don't have a pet? No. Do you feed your yourself in the morning? Do you ever, yeah, you eat breakfast? What happened to my pet feet? I mean, my pet feet. Why can't I say feet? Has anyone watched The Good Place? That's a Good Place reference. Anyway. Doodles, I asked, is that you? What was happening? I scanned high and low and then I saw it. See, it's pet feet. Her pet has feet. What's going on? Her pet is feet. The alphabet on my wall was incomplete. My pet feet. Now, if you look closely here at the end, you can see, look at how many words have the letter R in it. Look at all the green. That's all those words have R. And the publisher, Simon and Schuster, they even covered up the R on the spine with a little B here, so there's actually, you can't see the R. And even on the front flap here, the description has no R's until you get to the end. That's why we put the copyright at the end, because legally we had to put Simon and Schuster, otherwise. But yeah, and that is My Pet Feet. Now, I thought we could talk for a couple minutes about making these books. So, Carrie,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you write first drafts ever?
I do. I
Yeah?
write a lot of first drafts.
Does anybody like to write? Are there any writers out there? Yeah?
There's some.
Well, I know there's some adult writers out there. Yeah. And now, do you like to draw?
I do like to draw, but I have not practiced drawing enough to be a professional illustrator.
Yeah. Does anybody out there like to draw? Yeah? A few people? Yeah, you like to draw? Awesome.
Yeah.
So, now, what was it like to work with Erin, who illustrated this book?
So, as some people know, but probably some people don't, usually the author and the illustrator don't really talk to each other when a book is being made. So, but I did get to see So like I sent the book to the publisher and then they hired the illustrator and the illustrator drew the pictures without really talking to me about it.
You mentioned something about a stamp. Can you tell us how she used stamps?
Yes, it was really cool. So they would send me sketches along the way. So I got to see some of her work along the way. And what she does is she draws an illustration and then she transfers that to a piece of wood. And she carves it. She uses really sharp tools to carve the illustration in wood. And then she uses those blocks, she inks them, she rolls ink onto them, and she stamps them onto paper. So if you look, you can especially see it, I think, in the grass of the story. You can see all the little cuts that she made in the wood. And then she put green ink on it and stamped it onto paper, and that's how she makes her illustrations. So it's a really interesting process, and actually she has a really cool video on YouTube. If anyone wants to look it up later, just look up her name, Erin Cron, and you'll find it. That she made when she wrote another book called Something's Wrong by Jory John, and it shows her whole like woodcut process, which is really, really cool.
So these are like stamps. Does anybody ever use stamps and ink? Has anyone ever used stamps before? So is it kind of like that, but she just has anyone ever made their own stamps? I've never made my own stamps.
You can make stamps out of like, we've done like potato stamps even. Like you carve a little symbol in a potato and you can like soup it in ink.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Same
Did
process.
you bring a potato we could do that with?
I did not bring
Oh.
a
All right,
potato.
next time, Alex, next time we come here, we're gonna do potato stamping, okay? Mark it down.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, cool.
So, question for you, Josh, because I know that a lot of your books are written in rhyme.
So are yours. in
Mine
fact.
too,
Yeah.
yes, mine too. And this one is not. So
Just
I'm
like
wondering,
yours too.
just like mine.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, what happened to your rhyme? Was it because you couldn't use the letter R, so you couldn't rhyme, or?
You know, sometimes when I write in rhyme, so has anyone read Lady Pancake and Sir French Toast before? Has anyone seen that book? A couple people. So that book is in rhyme, and a lot of my books are in rhyme, and I feel like when I write a story, I try to make it so that it's something special that only I could write. And rhyme is something that I practiced really hard at, and I think it adds a bit of charm to stories. And for this, I think the charm was the missing R's. And I got the idea for this book from a typo on my phone or an autocorrect, I'm not sure which. But I tried to write the word friend. I tried to write the word friend, and it came out as fiend, and I hit send on the text, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't mean that. And then I thought, what happened? Why would a friend turn into a fiend? What would cause that to happen? Why would the R's disappear from the word friend? And then I thought, what other words would lose an R and turn into something silly? And what would happen if the whole world lost R's? And maybe why would that happen? And that is sort of how I started getting the idea for my pet feet. I thought, what would happen in a world where all of the R's disappeared? How did you get the idea to write Hurry Little Tortoise, Time for School?
So as I mentioned before, I was thinking about when I used to try to get to school on time and sort of the anxiety about getting to school on time, but then also as a parent, when I was trying to get my kids ready for school, one of whom is here today.
Were they on time today for this event?
One of them was. So, getting them out of bed and having breakfast and brushing their teeth, and then our walk to school is like all the way up a hill, right? So I felt like I just constantly was saying, hurry, hurry, hurry. And of course, the animal that came to mind for me during that whole process was a tortoise. And so I thought, well, what if an actual tortoise is like trying to get to school on time? What would that be like? And that's kind of where the story came from and the character came from.
Do you ever have friends that help you write your stories? Do you ever share your stories with your friends and see what they think?
I do. So I think there's a, kind of a myth that writers just go off and like they write something and then that's it and they just send it to the publisher and it's all done. But actually it takes so many drafts to get a story into really good shape to be published into a book. And so I have several different groups of people that we all work together and we read our stories once a month and we talk to each other about like what we liked about the story and what was good about it, and then maybe what needs to change, or if there's anything confusing, or what the ending should be. And so we all really help each other.
Yeah. Did you know at the end that it was always going to be a hare that was there last?
I did not, actually.
Really?
The editor suggested that.
Oh,
Yes.
I like that. That was a funny way to end it.
I originally was like, I'm not putting a hair in this book. But the editor made that suggestion. And
Oh,
I
very
was like,
cool.
okay, fine, we'll put a hair.
I think it's a good ending. I think your
so, too.
editor had a good idea.
Yes. It
Yeah.
needed
Does
that
anybody ever edit books? Anybody here? Is it? Oh, yeah, in the back. Is anybody here named Miles by any chance? Wait. Oh, is that Miles? Yeah. So, well, I don't want people to get too bored with questions. Does anybody have questions they wanted to ask us about being writers, or about tortoises or feet or pets or anything? Anybody have questions? It's okay if you don't. Well, you don't. Okay. That's okay. Cool. Oh, yes.
How did you decide to make the little girl a brown girl?
I am not the illustrator of the book, so it was Billy's idea or the art director's idea. Actually, it was not written as a boy or a girl. It's written in first person, so in my head, I did that on purpose. I left it, non-gendered, but yeah, it's something that was kind of above my pay grade, but I think that she's adorable and perfect for the story. So, good question.